Welcome, everyone, to our third episode or third installment of Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Reardon, and I'll be your coach this evening. So, if you were following along or saw some of my previous videos, you'll know this week we're talking about mindset, right? So, I'm a mindset coach, and what I do is I help people with how they think and how they operate. Right. I help people with their mental fortitude and their mental strength so that they can be more resilient in the world that we're living in. So our first episode was about mindset, talking about the different types of mindsets that people had. The second, we talked about subconscious, which is an automatic type of response that we may go throughout our days with. And that's going to be dealing with our habits that are automatic. So if you're coming home from work and you stop at McDonald's, for example, and you always do that's a subconscious habit at that point, right? It could be considered an action, but if you're not making the deliberate choice to do that, then it's going to be a subconscious thing that your brain is just saying, hey, just do it. So today we're going to finish the puzzle and we're going to be talking about action. We're going to be talking about consciousness, right? So consciousness deals with you making decisions, with you making choices, and for you to say, all right, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's not going to be, and for you to act upon what you say or what you think about. So if you head over to my website and you'll see in the blog area, if you just type in actions, there's so many blogs, so many articles about action, right? And the reason why I have so much content on action is because that is what we're made out of, right? Our life is our actions. So if we are going to be able to produce something, we need to have proper action. And we can tell just how important that is by looking or reading all these articles. You'll see that action is forefront in where we need to be. So with that being said, what is action, right? What is our consciousness? What is our decision making really telling us? Well, it's telling us what we don't want to know sometimes, right? Like, oh, I have to go to the gym. Well, I don't really want to go to the gym, so I'm going to stay and sleep instead, right? We made a choice. We had an action, whether it be inaction, because inaction is also inaction. So whether it be inaction or action, you're making the conscious choice to do something or not do something. And what I find is many people like to have inaction, right? Many people will say, I want to do this, but I'm not willing to put in the work to do it. So that's where a lot of people are. And that's why a lot of people hire me, because they're in a position where they're in a rat race, and they're going around and around in circles. They have all these ideas, but they don't have actions to support them. So what I do is I help people become more active. Right. And I'm not talking about being active and running a mile or running a marathon, more active in their life, right? More active in the choices that they're making and for them to make better choices for themselves. Because sometimes people have their best intentions, but they're not willing or they're not quick enough to implement the actions needed for success, to attain a good life. So when it comes to action, what needs to be done, right? When it comes to consciousness, what needs to be thought of? So what I do is when I think about an action or something I have to do, I already have it scheduled, number one. But when I think about the task, I understand that task is serving me in some way, right? I'm not going to do something necessarily that's going to be a detriment to me. So, for example, if I am going out with friends on a Friday night, this Friday night I'm spending time with you, right? I'm making a new video series. So that's my action tonight. But instead, if I went out with friends, let's say I went out drinking. So now I'm out drinking socializing, being friendly, networking, right? Still positives to that. But let's say I have maybe 5 beers, right? Or 5 mixed cocktails. How would I feel tomorrow, right? Will I be at 100%? Will I be at 70%, hungover, tired, anything, right? So the action of me going out with my friends is actually a detriment to what I need to do tomorrow. So if tomorrow I have to work with clients, if I have to write new articles for next week, get new video content, I'm busy, right? I don't have the luxury to say, well, today's going to be a lazy day. I'm going to stay in bed and I'm not going to do anything. So I have to understand that my actions today have consequences for tomorrow. And if you don't take any action today, then there's going to be consequences down the road. Don't be one of those people who say they're going to do something and they never do it. And when they get to the end of their life, they regret not doing something, right? Because at the end of your life, you're not going to regret the things you did, but the things you didn't do. So the more times you don't take action, the less time you're going to have to take those actions, right? Because we only have a finite amount of time on this earth. No one is immortal, right? We haven't found a cure, or we haven't found a remedy or a secret elixir for everlasting life. So you only have one life, and you have to make it your best, and you have to put your best foot forward in order to get that life. So when we are talking about action, we're talking about something that's going to bring you quicker to success, right? And it doesn't matter your goal, because it can be true for any goal that you set forth, right? You want to be in a better relationship. Okay, well, what are your actions, right? Are you on dating websites? Are you going out meeting people? Are you asking friends to hook you up with friends, etc., right? Or let's say you have the action of wanting to get in shape. Are you dieting? Are you going to the gym? Are you making sure you count your calories? Whatever, right? Those actions. Because if you don't take the right actions, guess what? You're going to not be able to be successful toward your goal. Now, if you're trying to lose weight and your action is eating cake, yes, you're taking an action. You might be counting the calories of the cake, but guess what? That cake is going to be a detriment, because we know, right? Science, statistics, if you're eating a lot of sweets and a lot of sugars and not a lot of healthy foods, or burning off the excess amount of calories, you're going to gain weight, right? So it's very easy to pack on calories, pack on weight, but it's hard to lose it. It's more difficult to burn your calories than it is to consume them. So the best way is to moderate what you're putting into your body, right? So those are just actions, right? Just ways for you to be able to accomplish your goals a little bit quicker. So when we're talking about our mindset, and we have a fixed mindset, growth mindset, doesn't matter, our actions are going to help mold our mindset a little bit better, actually. So it's actually a helping aid to our mindset. So the things that you do might benefit you more if you're doing them under the premise of, is it positive or negative, right? So I was talking about a little bit about good actions and bad actions. So let's start to think about those actions as being either positive or negative. Because if you have your actions being positive, then your mind is going to also become more positive, right? If you're doing a lot of good things, if you're making progress in your life and toward your goals, your mind is going to see that, right? So your mind is going to start to operate in abundance, in a growth mindset, because it's going to see that your actions are pertinent to where your mindset is or is going to be. So your actions have so much to do with your success. And it's not just, oh, take the right actions and don't watch Netflix or don't go to McDonald's or or, don't date this person because they have a history of being a bad person, right? You have to have actions that are going to benefit you in some way, right? So let's talk about the pivot. So you have some habits right now, right? And you might have good actions, you might not have good actions. You might be making terrible life choices right now, and you need help. You're not alone in that way of thinking, all right? I can assure you that. So if you're down a road and you're going down and you're noticing like, wow, like my life is not really going how I would like it to go, you have to start to change your actions, right? Because if you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're getting the results you don't want, then it's time to start to change your actions, right? Because if you're going to simply say, all right, I'm going to do this, do that, but you don't do it or you fail to do it, what was the reason, right? Because a lot of people talk about doing all these wonderful things, yet they never get around to doing them. So as a coach, I always ask myself, why do people fail at accomplishing their goals, right? Okay, we can look at their mindset. All right, are they optimistic? Are they pessimistic? Are they fixed mindset, growth mindset? Do they operate in abundance? Do they operate having a limited mindset, right? What is their subconscious mind trying to tell them? If they have bad habits, I mean, the list goes on. But what I am really looking at initially is how you operate in your day. What is your day made out of? So when your alarm clock rings in the morning, what does your day consist of? Does it consist of you hitting the snooze button a few times? Does it consist of you waking up immediately and starting your day, eating breakfast, or maybe working out in the morning, going to work, right? What do you do on that commute to work, right? What type of actions are you doing? What are you feeling? Then when you get to work, what are you doing at work, right? Even the type of job you do is going to have a correlation, or it's going to have an effect on your overall well-being. So if you're doing a job you don't like, that action is actually going to put you in a place where you're a little bit down, right? So when you get home, you don't want to be bothered. You don't want to be bothered with success. You don't want to worry about getting out of the rat race. You just want to sit on the sofa and relax. You had a stressful day at work, and now it's time to relax. So if you are in that type of situation where your actions are not happening because you're tired from work, or if you are just not motivated enough after work because you already had a negative day, you already had a full day of stress and nonsense, so now you don't want to deal with any more nonsense. So you're going to say, all right, Netflix has never hurt me. Hulu has never hurt me, right? YouTube probably has never hurt me either. And you're going to spend your time vegging out. So you're vegging out and you're relaxing. And I'm not going to say that time is a bad time, right? Because you can use that time to meditate, to recuperate, and to unwind from your day. However, if you're going to use that time on a consistent basis with no growth after work, how can you build your empire, right? So the action that comes after something difficult or something challenging, you have to start to identify what that is. So if you are dealing with a lot of stress in your life and your action doesn't counteract that stress in some way or works to eliminate that type of stress long term, then you might want to start to think about different actions. Because yes, You can come home and you can watch Netflix, or you can eat some cheesecake or whatever you want. That might alleviate the stress temporarily, but what about long term, right? What actions are going to be a long-term fix to the problem? And people like quick fixes, right? They want them to do exactly what they want. All right, quick fix, easy, done. Because the solution actually takes a little bit more effort, takes a little bit more work. So if you're going to be dealing with your stress, a busy schedule, where your actions are kind of frayed and you don't have the ability to make proper choices, then you have to start to figure out a way to make better choices, right? Have better actions. And the best way I have found, and we talked about that a little bit on Wednesday, was to create a schedule, right? To create a schedule that has your whole day planned out. Every second, every minute of your day needs to be planned out. Because if it's not, you're going to have to make a choice, consciousness. You're going to have to make a decision on what you're going to do next. So if you're going to be having to make a choice when you're tired, it's going to be different than if you're going to be making a choice if you have a lot of energy, right? Best example I can give is if you're hungry. It's a lot more effort to go home and cook than it is to stop somewhere to get food. You're always going to find a solution that might not be the best for you. So you have to delegate, or you have to already determine what your day is going to look like, right? From the morning to bedtime, all the way. And I'm not saying you can't have some modifications throughout the day. Maybe you will come home at 6 typically, but some friends wanted to maybe grab some dinner. And, you wanted to catch up with them. Maybe you were going to grab dinner by yourself already on Friday. Typically Fridays, people might grab a pizza, or they might grab maybe some Chinese food. So it's an automatic thing where people on Fridays are already getting some food from somewhere. So for you to go out with your friends for the same hour, maybe a little bit more, to get that food, it's not going to be a huge effect on your actions, right? It's not going to have a huge consequence. But the actions matter when it pertains to your progress and for you to becoming a better person, right? Your better self, your highest potential self. And that requires action, but it requires good action and consistent action, right? Because if you're going to start working out and you're working out and all of a sudden you say, okay, well, I worked out pretty good, I'm going to stop working out, all right? All that progress you had is going to be lost because you were working out really well, and then all of a sudden, now you're not working out. So all that muscle growth, maybe all that weight you had, melted off is coming back now, right? Because maybe you didn't change your habits of your eating, and the gym was just kind of giving you that caveat to eat the way you were. But remember, you can never out-eat, or you can never outwork a bad diet. So your actions have to be in line with what you're going after. So your actions might be different than that, than your brothers, sisters, your peers, friends, right? It's going to be different because what you want is going to be different than what they want. And you have to determine what type of actions you really want. So one of the articles I will recommend for anyone to read is called Lights, Camera, Action. And it is talking about the New Year's. How everyone at New Year's time has these resolutions and they say, okay, I'm going to do this. And they have all these, decisions to, get in shape or to get a new job or to learn a language, whatever it be, right? They have this, this goal in their mind, right? And they have all these actions they're going to be taking in order to get to success, right? To complete their goal. But something happens along the way, right? And we spoke about it on Monday, but basically what happens is people fall through. They fall through the cracks and they don't remain consistent with their action plan, with their schedule. So even if they're 3 months into the year, they might say, you know what, I gave it a good go and I'll try again next year. Or maybe I'll try in the summer, right? Because I needed summer body. So they start because of the New Year's resolution. They stop because of their habits, right? They don't want to take the action because it's a lot of hard work to get in shape. So they don't want to deal with that work. Okay, so summer comes around, starting to get warm. Oh man, I forgot that I need to go to the beach. Let me go to the gym again. So you're going to the gym, this time only a month. All right, I'm done. Now you're not going to the gym either. So it's not so much about your ideas and knowing what you want, but to persist through the challenges and the struggles. So lights, camera, action actually talks about getting ready to commit to action. And if you can understand that, all right, the time is now, and I am the person who's going to get me to where I want to be. Because if you're going to be dealing with success, if you're going to be dealing with progress, you have to have the actions needed in order for you to get there. So this is a really great article that talks you through step by step, get ready for action. And then even though you are acting, don't stop. And the premise of lights, camera, action is about filming. So when the camera's rolling, right? They're not going to stop the camera because you want to take a break or because you're tired. The camera's rolling. The ball is rolling, time is rolling, the world is rolling, spinning, whatever, right? It's going on. So you have to understand about lights, camera, action is there for you to say, we're not going to stop. So you can't stop either. So action, right? Taking the action needed in order for you to accomplish your goals. And the best way I have found to get action from people, because I can't force you, right? I can't say, all right, John, you're going to do this for me and I need this type of action, right? Because you might do it in the beginning, right? Initially. But what's going to happen in 3 months, right? Maybe I'm not there anymore. Maybe we terminated our coaching because you're in a really good place. So I'm going to let you out into the world and you're going to show the world what you have, right? How many people revert back to where they were? Some, right? Typically, I don't really set people out and say, okay, good luck, and then they revert back. I find that a lot I used to find that a lot with my fitness clients. They would want to be gym. They're in the gym 2 weeks, doing great, looking great. And then all of a sudden, too much work, right? They don't want to do it anymore. And that comes to lifestyle a little bit too, because being in shape is the lifestyle, right? You can take the actions to diet and to go to the gym and to do all those wonderful things. But if you're going to just sit and be idle or enjoy that life more than being fit, then of course that's what you're going to do, right? You're going to choose the lifestyle, which is easier. And that's the primitive brain working, because the brain doesn't want to work, right? The brain wants to take the least path of resistance. What's the easiest thing I can do, right? That's why it's so easy for you to make the decision when you're coming home from work and you're tired and you're hungry to stop and get food. The easiest decision. Now, you might struggle. What am I going to eat? Is it Chinese? Is it pizza? Right? That would probably be the most difficult decision you have to make. But what happens is something called decision fatigue, right? We are allowed a certain amount of decisions every day. And yes, some people can make more decisions than some. Some people will make less decisions, right? That's just how people are. But I find everyone can increase their capacity to have proper decision making, right? And to increase how many decisions they can make before they start to make poor decisions, right? And I've read books on books about how to make the right actions and to make the right decisions and be conscious of what you're doing in your day. So one of the best tips I've learned is to do all the hard stuff immediately. Some people like to go to the gym at night, and I'm not going to say that's a wrong thing, right? Because I used to go to the gym in the evenings. But for me, I prefer to go to the gym in the morning, right? Because if I do not go to the gym in the morning, I am allowing myself an excuse, right? Oh, I worked hard today. The gym is going to be busy. I have a lot of work. I just can't go to the gym tonight. I have to wake up early, so I'm going to go to bed early. So I skipped the gym that day. However, if I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, yeah, I have stuff to do to start, but going to the gym is a priority for me in the morning. So now I say, okay, well, the morning time is going to be my time to kind of consolidate my thoughts and to focus and prepare myself for the day, right? And it's so interesting how people will say that going to the gym actually gives you less energy or takes away your energy. But it has that adverse effect, actually. It gives you more energy. So yes, you will go to the gym, you will sweat, you'll be tired, but it gives you a mental boost, right? It's like almost an endorphin rush saying, whoa, okay, here we go. Let's tackle the day. And that's if you had a good night's sleep. If you're waking up groggy because you went to sleep late and you only had maybe 4 hours of sleep, so you're a little bit tired still, that could have an effect on your day. But if you're following a schedule, going to bed on time, waking up on time and doing everything you need to do, then you're going to notice that you're doing all the right things and you're feeling all the right things, right? You're being conscious about what you do. So when you are deciding on the next steps, what is going to benefit you, right? What actions are going to help you succeed? What actions are going to help you progress and be better, right? My goal every day, you should have a goal for a day, a month, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? You should have goals set forth to show your progress, right? To say that you did something. And for me, my goal is to make sure that I'm better than I was yesterday, right? And sometimes I fail, right? Sometimes I say, I'm just out of it. Maybe I'm sick. Maybe I'm tired. If I was dieting, if I was fasting, maybe my energy levels are not where I would prefer them to be. But even that is not an excuse, right? If I'm not able to tap into my full potential, that's a me problem, right? If I'm not taking the actions that I need to make, that's a me problem, right? I'm not looking to find someone to blame. I'm not looking to say, oh, this person did this, so my life or my day is ruined, right? I have everything in order so I can understand, okay, this is the next step. So the that you take today is going to help you for tomorrow. And it doesn't have to be big action. A lot of people think, oh, I have to climb this mountain in order for me to be successful, right? And the mountain can be a metaphor for life or the promotion tracks at work or in general, right? Fitness. That action simply is telling you this step and this step is going to get me this result or these sets of results. So that is simply saying, what actions do you have right now? Right? Take some time. What actions do you have right now that can be modified, can be changed, right? Can be implemented more frequently to help you be better. Better tomorrow, better in a year, 10 years, etc. That needs to be done. And you have to make the conscious choice to say, I'm going to do what's right for me. I'm not going to do what's wrong. I'm not going to do what may be causing me turmoil. I'm going to do what's going to benefit me the most. And I speak with people and they think in the beginning it's a very selfish idea, but the idea of filling up your cup, right? The action of filling up your cup. And this cup is basically any cup, right? Your vessel, right? So if you are filling up your cup and you are making sure your cup is full, eventually your cup will be overflowing. What happens is people decide, well, I already have a little bit of my cup. Let me share it with my friend. Let me share it with my partner. Let me share it with my family. And that's fine and all. I'm not going to say that you can't share what you have, but when you overextend yourself, when you give too much and then you're left with nothing, you're burnt out, you're tired, you're drained, and then you wonder why you are on the sofa at the end of the day. And you wonder why you're in a rat race. And you wonder why your life hasn't surmounted to anything. Yeah, maybe you went to school. Maybe you're doing great things, but you could be doing so much more. And I'm not saying that doing a little bit is a bad thing, right? Do what you're capable of right now. But the more you do something, the better you should be getting at it. I'm not expecting someone to walk into the gym and lift like a 100-pound dumbbell if they've never been in the gym in their life before. Yeah, we can start with the 5s, maybe the 10s, and we work our way up to that 100. And the same is true in life. If you're in a career, you might start off in a sales position, right? Maybe doing cold calls and figuring out what people need. You might hate that job, right? Getting hung up, getting swore at, being belittled, all the deadlines and all the quotas that have to be met. The stress behind that alone will make you want to quit and or go home and do nothing, right? And that's where a lot of people are. They're not happy where they are. So the people I work with are not the top 20%, right? Not the people who are making over $100,000 a year. Those people are on the way to being successful, right? To, having a better life, right? To reaching their goals. And yes, I do have clients like that, but it is for specific reasons, very pinpointed. What I'm trying to do is help the 80% of the people, right? The people who maybe are complacent where they are, who are waiting for someone to come save them, are waiting to win the lotto, are waiting to get an inheritance, are waiting for someone to say, all right, you don't have to worry about the bills anymore. I'll take care of you. That's what some people are waiting for. And I'm not saying that you can't be that type of person, but what actions are you taking to make sure that happens, right? Is it a wish? Is it a dream? Or is it something that you have planned and will attain? It's different if you're dreaming about it, and you have no action, right? Denzel Washington said, a dream is just a dream if you don't have action. So start to apply the actions you need in order to attain the results you are looking for, right? And start to plan out your day in a way you can say, this is benefiting me, this is not benefiting me. And if you can start to do all those little things, right? Because it's the little things that accumulate up to the big things, you're going to see that things are starting to go better for you, right? Better in a sense, all right, I'm making progress to where I want to be. And it starts with understanding your mindset, understanding your habits, and then from there, making the choices, making the decisions to say, all right, this is what I want. Then you go out and get it. So don't sit idle. Don't wait for the right moment. There is no right moment. There's right now, right? The action doesn't come December 31st, right? Just like the blog that I showed you, Lights, Camera, Action. It doesn't happen at New Year's. It doesn't happen at summer or at the turn of a season. It happens immediately. So for me, if I say I want to do something, I don't allow myself an opportunity to put all these thoughts in my mind saying, oh, take a break. Oh, you could do this tomorrow. I get up and I do it now. Because I understand if I put myself in a place where I'm delaying my actions and I'm having inaction, that becomes a habit very quickly because it's very easy. And remember, the brain loves easy. So if you're going to have an easy life, okay, nothing wrong with that. You can have a successful, easy life. I would rather have a successful, easy life than to have an easy life with no success. And how many people don't want to be successful? How many people don't want to have good things in their life, quality things in their life? Because a lot of people want something, right? They want something good for themselves or for their family. But it will require work and it will require consistency for you to say, this is what I want. And if you make a mistake, if you fall off, I understand, right? But get back up, get back on track. So many people fall off for a whole entire year and then they try to pick it up next year. My favorite thing that I hear people talk about is they'll say that I'm so done with a year. All right. So 2020 was the quarantine pandemic year, or the first initial year. It was, I believe, March, maybe sooner. I was already hearing that. Like, can 2020 be over already? I was like, we just started. What are you going to do with the rest of the year? You're just going to sit at home? And sure enough, that's what they did. Wasted a whole year and a half sitting at home. Inaction. The conscious choice to not act. The conscious choice to stay at home, eat unhealthy, catch up on all the series that were trending. Because I'm sure if you look at the statistics for how many people were at home watching television or some type of video streaming services in the year of 2020, it's probably greater than the year of 2019. Like, noticeably different. Not just a few percent. Probably talking about double digits different. So if we know that the majority of people did that instead of saying, okay, well, I'm still going to eat healthy. I'm still going to maybe run around the block, things like that, because you were allowed to go out for exercise. And all the home gyms that were created during quarantine, are they still being used? No, they're not. How much gym equipment has been forgotten and put away in a corner, in a room, in a box still maybe? Don't worry. In a year and a half, you're going to start to see all that gym equipment up for sale again. So if you're thinking about starting your home gym right now, just wait. You can get a huge discount in a year. All the people who have purchased home gyms are going to say, well, I never even really used this, and they're going to sell it. So check your Facebook marketplace, check your offer up, check all the places, your Craigslist, all the places where people sell things, and you're going to notice that, oh, it's only a year, 2 years old, and it's because of the whole pandemic and people wanted to work out. So if you are the type of person who has these wonderful ideas, you say, okay, I'm going to do this. This is a great idea, right? You start to implement the action and you say, okay, this is going to be good for me. And you start, but you don't finish. How can we change that? What actions can we do to change that type of behavior? And shout out in the chat all the way from Egypt, Tiska, thank you. So how can we change that type of action, right? If we understand, okay, I know that eventually I'm going to get to the point where I don't want to do something anymore, right? And it's not because I know it doesn't benefit me, but because I get bored, I get tired, things get stagnant, right? Why do you think so many relationships end? Because the action required to keep it is more than it is to get rid of it. Yeah, and there's stuff about financial reasons and things like that, but more often than not, it's about action. Do you want to take the action? Do you want to put in the effort in order to do something for yourself? And a lot of people don't want to even be bothered, right? You can see that with society right now. A lot of people are just saying, all right, I'll take what I get, right? How many hire signs do you see all around? People are looking for work or looking for workers, but no one is working. There's no action. There's inaction constantly, frequently in our society. And how can we change that, right? Well, people have to wake up. Not wake up in the sense of being righteous and political, but wake up in the sense of where can $600 get you in your life? And even if you took the unemployment, and are working the system, what are you doing in that time where you're not working, right? How are you bettering yourself? What actions are you taking to better yourself? So if you can figure out what needs to be done, right? What needs to be said, what needs to be created, then the actions or the plan you create is going to help you get to where you want to be in your life, right? And what I do for all my clients is I create them a schedule, because no matter how many times I tell them, create a schedule, create a schedule, create a schedule. How many people create a schedule? Probably 10% of those clients. Probably 10%. That's being very generous, because people don't really want to delegate their time by minutes, by hours. They want to just go through their day and whatever they feel like, that's what they do. That's what 80% of the people do. Because if you look at the habits of the highly successful, they have structure, they have habits, they take actions that are going to benefit them. While the other 80% prefer inaction. So the goal is to turn inaction into proper action, right? And to not mistake movement for progress, because sometimes people think, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, but they end up right where they are, right back where they started. I find that a lot with people when they're diet phases, right? Oh, I'm on keto, I'm on Atkins, I'm on paleo. Well, how much weight did you lose? I didn't lose any weight. Okay, so how are those diets working for you, right? You have all these action plans for these diets, but these diets aren't doing anything for you. And the same is true in other areas of your life, whether it be work. Oh, I'm working at this place and then I'm working at this place. And then all of a sudden we ask, okay, well, how much money do you have saved? Well, I don't have anything saved. Okay, well, why not? Right? The actions, right? Your conscious choices. How are you planning for success? And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people have never planned for success. I've talked to people who are making 6 figures and more, and I ask them, well, how are you planning to be better than this? They don't know. So if they don't know, if you're making less than 6 figures, how would you know? Right? So when it comes to your schedule, when it comes to making choices and decisions for being better and wanting better or wanting more, your actions have to take precedence. Because if you're going to have wrong actions, dealing with the wrong people, doing the wrong things at the wrong time, this could be very difficult to get somewhere. And you can do this by yourself. I have plenty of free material on my website where you can just type in action in the search window, and you will see that there's so much to read, right? There's so much to learn and to basically work on, right? So if you just go to the page and you go to blogs, and you just scroll down to the search window and just type in action. And you'll see a bunch of blogs, a bunch of free articles pop up about how to improve your actions, to pivot. If you're having actions, you're doing the right thing, right? And you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then it's not working. How do you stop doing the wrong thing, right? Because we don't want to keep doing the wrong thing and keep having poor results. So we pivot, right? That's an action. Consciousness. What are you thinking about, right? What choices are you making every single day? Consciousness, right? Moderation, the guide, right? Understanding limits. So going out with your friends 7 days a week, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Might be a good thing. I'm not going to say, it's necessarily a bad thing, but for me, it is a bad thing, right? I need to be creating content. I need to be writing articles. I need to be working with clients. That's how I'm growing, right? So for me, going out on a consistent basis with friends doesn't serve me, right? The contingent mind, talking about someone who's complacent where they are. So someone who is not going to proceed to be better because they say, you know what, I'm just going to take what the world gives me. I'm with this person, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter. And they're okay, right? They might not have all the qualities you're looking for, but you've been with them already 2 years. So you say, well, I guess I might as well get married to this person. So you get married to them and you're not happy. Why? You already spent 2 years with the person and you said, I might as well get married to this person because I already spent 2 years with them and I don't want to waste my 2 years. It's an action. Getting married. But you knew it wasn't going to work because you just said, well, they don't have all the qualities I'm looking for, but I already wasted 2 years. And down the road, 18 years, I don't want to be with this person anymore. Right? I feel like I deserve more. The list goes on. All the way down. Every single article is telling you something about your actions and about what you can do about them so you don't make bad decisions in your life. Because if we can mitigate how many mistakes you make that are detrimental to success, we can get to success quicker. And failure is a good thing. We're not looking to not fail, but we're looking to fail forward. We're looking to have our failures help us rather than deter us. Because if you ever failed and gave up, that's a fixed mindset, right? We're looking to fail and learn from our mistakes, from our failures, and say, okay, how can I make this better? So I know we have a lot of people in chat. We have Cedric in chat. Shout out to Cedric. Tiska again. We have a question. So why are some people have the ability to make changes in their life, routines and actions, and others like me tend to be so stable and low active routine until something forced me to change that routine? So Tiska, the simple question the simple answer to that is, it's easier when someone tells you to do something. So if I'm your boss and I tell you to have this project done by Friday, you're going to have that project done by Friday because that's your job. That's your livelihood. Now, if you said, okay, well, I want to have this project done so I can put it on my website and start to make passive income, it's going to be a little bit different because it's optional. So when you have something that's optional, you're not going to give it the same amount of urgency as you would if it was something that was mandatory, like a job. Because if you have a boss and they tell you to do something and you don't do it, you risk getting fired, right? So a lot of people will do what they're asked to quicker than if you just had this idea in your head and you said, oh, I'm going to do this. This is going to be really good for me. So if you can get out of that habit of saying, okay, well, I want to make a change, but is the change optional, or is it something that has to be 100% I'm doing this? Because if you're always going to give it an option, you're going to have a more challenging time accomplishing them. Okay, so even with your routines, if you give something as an option, if you label something optional, you're not going to do it as readily as something that's mandatory, right? If you have to be at work at 9, you leave at 5, right? So you're going to be at work at, say, 8:55 if you're punctual or earlier, and you're going to be there ready to work, okay? Because you know if you don't, you'll get replaced. And you just have to start to put that idea, that type of mindset in your own mind that, okay, if I want something, right? If I want better routines, if I want my actions to be more in line with what I'm going after, you have to put 100% behind it. Okay? You just can't have things be optional anymore. So that would be my best advice for you. Because if you're going to give things some leeway, where if you do it, great. If you don't do it, whatever. It has to be some consequences if you don't do it. So I know there was a trainer who was getting ready to do a marathon. And he says, I'm going to do a mile every day. So he does a mile every day, but he misses one day. But he gave himself, he had given himself a punishment, right? And I'm not saying that your punishment has to be like a bad thing, but he gave himself a kind of a weird punishment. He said, if I don't run every single day, I'm going to eat a can of dog food. Well, guess what? He missed the day. Guess what he did? He ate a can of dog food. Do you think he missed any more days? He did not miss any more days, right? So he had a punishment for having bad action, right? For not making the choice to go running one day. But he held himself accountable also, saying, oh yes, I did not run. I'm going to hold myself accountable, because if you do not hold yourself accountable immediately, guess what you're going to do to yourself? You're not going to believe yourself anymore. For example, the teacher who always yells, oh, this. And then guess what? Eventually the kids are chuckling in the back of the room. They're like, oh, she's yelling again. He's yelling again. And the teacher is trying to get the kids to where she wants them to be, or he wants them to be. But the kids are just laughing. They're just like, oh, look, she's yelling again. He's yelling again. Ooh, look, we pushed the buttons right. But no progress, because they're already used to that type of yelling. So if you get used to putting off, if you get used to not following through with your punishments or with what you say you're going to do, it's going to be more challenging for you to do it in the end. So all the people who are struggling with something in their life, how many obstacles did you place in front of that goal? Because every single time you fail and you don't keep pushing forward, there's now an obstacle in there and in your way toward that goal. So what I do is I help people get past those goals. So if you're having a hard time figuring out what you need to do, you need to start to look at your obstacles that you created for yourself and then to replace them, right? My yoga teacher told me one of the quotes that I hold to this day. The biggest wall we will ever climb in our life is in our mind, and we put it there. That's powerful. Our obstacles, all of our challenges, we did that, right? Because if you fail, that's not a problem. Failure is not an issue. It's not the issue. It's what we think about the failure. Did the failure teach us something? Did we learn something from it? Or did that failure deter us from wanting to try again, right? A bird is not afraid to fly. So why are we afraid to achieve and run and go after more in our life? But yes, Tuska, it can be an option. There was a colonel. I believe he was an English, could be Russian, a general. This is a long time ago. When they went to war, they landed on the beach with all their boats. He burned all the boats, right? So now the soldiers didn't have an escape route, right? They couldn't retreat. So they had two options: die or win. They won, right? If you're going to give yourself an escape route, right, where you say, oh, well, I have a backup plan, and that backup plan is going to be your cushion. But if you're going to think about your backup plan as plan A, then you're not going to really care about what you're doing right now, your current plan A. So for me, I like to give people the mindset, all right, you're on a desert island. There's nothing there. Build something. There's no bridges to shore. There's no boats, no rafts. You have plan A. There's no plan B. What are you going to do? So you have to not give yourself options in the sense, well, if this doesn't work, I'll do this. Because if you continually do that, you're going to be running around for a good while before something sticks, before the right thing sticks. So constant success seems boring as failing. So constant success seems boring as failing. Okay, so if you are thinking that success is boring, I'm going to go down that route. So success is boring and failing is not boring. Now, the thing about success is success brings joy, right? It brings happiness, delight into your life. failure typically has a bad taste. And some people get that taste in their mouth and they say, "Ooh, I don't want this again." Some people get that taste and they go, okay, failure, not the greatest thing, so let me go for success. They get success and they go, "Ooh, this tastes a lot better." So they say, okay, I experienced failure, but I also experienced success. Success is sweeter than failure. Don't let failure deter you from wanting success. So is it boring to pursue success? It depends on what you're pursuing, I would say, because if you're going to be not doing something you love and enjoy and you have a passion for, yes, it can be boring, right? Because you can work in sales, whether it be insurance or selling cars, and you can make six figures or more, right? 100,000, 180,000 or more, but you might not have any passion in that job. Yes, you're providing. Yes, you might have the lifestyle that you're looking to have, but something is missing, right? You're not happy, right? You're not enjoying your work. And what I do is I always tell people to find what they're good at, all right? What they enjoy doing. And they're like, "Well, I don't know what I'm good at." Well, look at high school, right? What did you like in high school, right? And it might not be relevant to where you are right now, but if it is, then we can start to work on that, right? What was your passion? What are the things you love, dislikes? And we can start to figure out what type of success you would like to see. So another one from Tiska: constant success makes me question, is it too easy for me so that I'm successful in that thing? Then it turns boring. Okay, so that is a goal problem, right? Think of if you're climbing one mountain peak and you get to a mountain top, right? So you're at the top of the mountain and you say, "Woo, I got to the top." Great. You can stay at the top of that mountain all you want. And it's cool and all, right? Because you're at the top of the mountain and you were successful. But if you look around, you'll notice that there's more mountain peaks. There's more challenges. There's more opportunities where you can take another trek to a new mountaintop that might be taller and might be more difficult to climb. And that journey is going to be more enjoyable because you don't find happiness at the goal. You find happiness along the journey. So it's not so much about reaching success and then it turns boring. It's always about looking for the new journey, right? The new thing you would like to have in your life. So then you can constantly be revolving of, okay, this is exciting. This is new, right? So for me in college, I was learning instruments, guitar, violin, etc. So I'm doing all these instruments and every instrument was new for me. It was a new mountain peak. And then when I did really good at those, and I said, okay, well, what's next? Yeah, I could have kept doing more instruments and kept getting better at the instruments. But I said, okay, I did that, right? I could have said it was boring, but it wasn't boring. I accomplished my goal. So I gave myself a new goal. What is the next step, right? All right, I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach the world. I'm going to create something. And from there, I was able to be in a constant flow of this is new, this is new, this is fun. Success, success, success. Success is not boring, right? Doing the same thing over and over is not boring, right? It's how you feel about it. So if you are at the point where if you are successful and you're bored where you are, do something new, right? That's why you have all these billionaires, launching themselves into space. Yeah, they have the means to, but they're like, well, I guess I'm bored. I'm going to do something different. So they launch themselves into space. Or they go skydiving, or they go in a retreat. They look for something to spark something inside of them, the adrenaline. They live for it. So, all in all, when it comes to your actions, they're going to help deliver you to the life you're looking for. We start with our mindset, then we look at our subconscious mind and our habits, and then we are going to figure out what actions are needed. And those three are the main focuses when I work with a new client, because understanding those three gives me a good understanding of how that person's going to be, right? How they operate. Where are they weak at? Because sometimes people just want to be told what to do. I need you to do this by this date, and then this is the next step. So it's always something. It's always progress. We're always moving to the next thing. So we are going to move into chat right now, but that's going to be the end of talking about action. So we're going just to be talking about chat, because I know Tiska has some more questions about everything. So Tiska says, so what if you know that there is a higher mountain too, but you're scared, but you are scared to turn from successful to unsuccessful because you know there's a great percentage of failing. So if you are successful, more often than not, you're not afraid of failure. Okay? Yes, you can fall, you can get hurt, you can fall and you might never get back up. That is a likelihood that's there. But the probability of you failing and never succeeding again, that probability is very low. Because you can fail 1,000 times and succeed once. You are successful. Because it doesn't matter how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. So you can be a little nervous. I'm not going to say that you're going to live life in 100% confidence constantly. You're always going to be a little nervous, right? Especially if something's new. And until you do it constantly and frequently, you will develop a certain level of confidence. And even if you have confidence in that area, you might have a little bit of jitters. And it might only last 5 minutes. But those jitters could be fear, right? The fear of failing, the fear of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. So you just want to make sure that regardless of failures, can you push past them, right? Because if you're going to think about failing, why not switch your mindset and think about being successful again? What would this new success bring you, right? So many people are afraid of falling, but what happened if you flew? Right? What happened if you got to this new mountain peak and it was a better view than your last one? Right? What if this new mountain peak had everything you were looking for in your life? Would you not risk it all to get that? And a lot of people, if they are under the mindset of growing and being better, the opportunity that lies on that new mountaintop could be greater than where they are. They're going to take that chance. Whether it be a risk or not, they're going to take that chance because they would rather say that they tried rather than saying that they were too afraid and never tried. So you have to get to that point. You have to get to that point where no matter what's going on, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to try and I'm going to keep on trying to succeed, or I'm going to see how it is, see if I like it. And if I don't like it, not a problem, right? Because you already know mentally, your brain already knows you already accomplished that current mountain peak, right? Where you are in life. You attained it. So your brain automatically knows it can be done, right? You might hear people say that it can't be done a lot. And when that happens, your brain is automatically in, oh, it can't be done, so I'm not going to try mode. And that's a little bit about what your question is asking, right? Think of Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister was the first man to run a sub 4-minute mile, right? Everyone, all the scientists, all the scientists will say, hey, you can't run a 4-minute mile. It's not humanly possible. Your heart's going to explode, right? Guess what Roger Bannister did? He ran a subpar 4-minute mile. I think it was like 3 minutes and 57 seconds or something like that. So after that, guess what happened? Everyone started to break that record of the sub 4-minute mile. So until one person did it, then it opened away the mindset that it was possible. So everyone started to do it because they saw it was possible. Anytime, Tuska, yes, athletes do have a more focused mindset, but you can use the same mindset that athletes use in any type of business. So don't think it's limited to a certain genre, right? Certain sport, certain career. Basically, being under the mindset where you can be better, right? You can grow and you can achieve things. So just having that type of understanding will get you further wherever you are. And also, I'm going to fix this chat window because I'm not sure what's going on there. Chat should be up there. But that is going to be the end of this episode. Again, I will be streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have a question from Jackie. I'll answer that in a second. We are going to be streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And that's going to be the regular episodes for the podcast or new video series. It's not really a podcast, video series. And I'm going to be starting to have more guests. I'm going to be having coaches that are in different fields than I am. So we'll have career coaches. We'll have coaches that deal with executive leadership. I'm a mindset coach. So what I do is a little bit different than what they do. We do have a lot of the same concepts and operate under the same premises. However, they do deal with different clientele. So we're going to be interviewing some of those people, and they're going to be kind of giving what they have right there at their perspective. So the sessions are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And they run for about an hour, a little bit more. Sometimes, so today is over an hour, but that's fine. It's a 2-hour window. And it's going to be 2 hours when I have a guest because they're going to talk. I'm going to talk. It's going to be like an hour and a half. I have a question real quick. So is there a thing as too much action? Yes, there is. And I'll give some examples to that. So unorganized actions that lead to failure and lots of disappointment. So too much action could be if you are so the easiest example I can do is if you are a giving type of person, right? So your actions of giving are something you enjoy, right? You find great delight in being able to give to someone. However, when you're giving and someone's a taker, they're going to keep on taking until you have nothing left to give. So the action of giving can actually put you in a worse place. Even though you feel good about giving, even though you want to help this person, a taker is going to keep on taking until you have nothing left. So you have to understand who you're working with, right? Who is this person that you're having actions toward or with? So if your actions are in line to benefit you, I don't see how that could be a bad thing, right? And there is limits that must be held, right? For example, bodybuilders and steroids, right? Steroids would help bodybuilders attain muscle mass more easily. Too much steroids is not a good thing, right? So too much of everything is not a good thing. So right here, going to an article that I wrote, Moderation, the Guide. It's in the action window. Why is it in the action window? Because moderation is needed in order to have good action. So to answer your question, Jackie, moderation is sometimes needed when dealing with action. All right. So with that, I'm going to be cutting off the stream. And it was a pleasure talking to everyone today. Thank you for joining. And I will be back Monday evening.